Dear ARIJians and friends of ARIJ, dear trainers, media trainers and investigators from around the world, we would like to welcome you to this excellent evening where we are closing the 12th ARIJ Forum and the 14th year of this leading project, the Arab project, which is called ARIJ. We hope that this network that brings together Arab investigative journalists, current and future, together. It does that in order to put this investigative journalism at the service of our societies. We hope that this workshop, this forum, has been of benefit in terms of acquiring new skills and experiences from the experiences of the speakers and the participants who came from all over the world. ARIJ has become an Arab movement that has crossed all boundaries, and it has become an international movement. We have 16 Arab countries included in ARIJ, where journalists fall under a lot of pressure to decide to be with or against the regime. My name is Randa Karache, and I'm very glad to be with you for this second year, and I would like to thank Rana Sabah. Last year, I felt you left a real impression on me, and I continued to follow up on documentaries that are related to investigative journalism as of last year. And I can say that not only the Arab world, but the world in general is living in turmoil. And what you are doing here is indeed a very noble task, and I would like to thank you, and I think we all deserve a round of applause for all what you are doing. Dear guests, the board of directors as well as of ARIJians are very proud to have Pia Thorson, the member of the board as of 2005. Without Pia and the founding members of this ARIJ would have continued to be ink on paper. Pia is the institutional memory of the board. She was one amongst the trainers with ARIJ at the first workshop in AUB in Beirut. She followed up on various assumptions for the investigative investigations by ARIJ during the pilot project. Pia included ARIJ in the international movement. It brought ARIJ together with Dr. Mark Hunter that led to the guidebook of ARIJ for Arab investigative journalists, and it is available in Arabic, and it is available for supervisors and trainers. She allowed us to participate in JIJN meeting in Toronto in 2007 with Saad Hattar and Hamoud Al-Mahmoud together with Rana Sabah. Everyone was looking with a lot of suspicion on the Arab group and were wondering if there would be any investigative journalism in the Arab world. Today we can see that ARIJ is here to stay and expanding. Please, Pia, would you come forward to the podium to give us your statement?
Okay, I have this one. Oh, okay. So I'm going to speak in English, obviously, because I'm not sure you would ever understand my Arabic. So I was kind of taken by surprise that I was going up here tonight by Rana. But when Rana says anything, it's law. So up I go. Rana asked me if I would, because there are so many people here that don't know the story of ARIJ. How did it all begin? And it's true that I've been there almost since the very beginning. I was not there during the very first meetings, but since January 2005, I have been on the board of ARIJ. And I'm now going to tell you a story. It's a story of descent of a flower that materialized and started growing. It became, in time, a beautiful rose. A thorny rose, some would say, some of them, those who felt its sting. They had their wrongdoings exposed. A beautiful rose to others, beautiful to those who experienced that light was shed on abuse and injustice. It's the story of ARIJ. And it all started back in the autumn of 2004, when a small group of Danish media people went to the Middle East and met with, among other, Daoud Kuttab. Don't clap yet, we'll get back to him. And a number of other media people down here to hear if they needed investigative journalism funding in this part of the world. As you all know, there was a history after 2001, and there was like a sentiment all over the world that we needed dialogue to create dialogue between the Middle East and the West. And so this was our small contribution to dialogue. And so we came down with a small bag of money from the Danish Foreign Ministry, and we talked to another group of media people down here and said, would you like some funding to do investigative journalism? And they were like, yeah, what's that? Not entirely. But what they said to us was, sure, but we think you need to train the journalists first, because it's not really a concept that's known down here. So they went home and, no, they didn't go home actually. In the beginning, they started to think about, so what would they call such an organization? So in theory, that was easy. Arab Reporters for Investigative Journalism. The abbreviation of that, though, was a bit more problematic in Arabic, because ARIJ, we were told, meant the scent of a flower. And how could something that signals the scent of a flower be associated with hard-hitting investigative stories? That was a bit strange. But nevertheless, they stuck to the name, and I hope, at least, that this name has some other connotations today in the Arab world. I'm sure it has. So they went home, and that was where I got involved, and that was where actually the whole board was set up. We started up first in 2005 with a pilot project, and then in the autumn of 2005, the board gathered for the first time in Jordan. We had been looking for an executive director, actually. A number of applications were in, we were interviewing some people, and we were not very happy after that, because there were no candidates who knew anything about investigative journalism, and it was kind of difficult. But on the board, the first board, let me talk a bit about that, because on the first board was Nabil Dajani, Dr. Nabil Dajani from the American University of Beirut, and Magda Abu Fadil from the Lebanese American University, and then Ibrahim Hamidi, who was editor-in-chief of Al Hayat in Damascus, and not least, Daoud Kuttab from a MENA/Radio Balad. And I'd just like to say something. Daoud, could you please rise? Would you please all give him a hand, because Daoud is one important person behind the fact that ARIJ exists today. For many years, Daoud was our chairman, and whenever other people would get cold feet or would, start running, screaming away, Daoud would always be the voice of rationality. He would always be the person who could find solutions. He was like this father for ARIJ for many years. He has done a lot for ARIJ, and for that we have all a lot to thank him for. So thank you, Daoud, a lot. Besides the Arab partners, there were ARIJ from Denmark, myself, and then another Arab, which was Rana Sabah. She was also on this first board. She did only attend it as a board member once, though. So I'll tell you what happened when we hired Rana. As I said, we had interviewed all these people, and there were no person that we could hire. And you should think it would leave us in a state of despair and frustration, but it didn't. At some point after these interviews, Rana went to the bathroom, and that was when the rest of the board started conspiring, because we wanted Rana. It was obvious to us. She was really intelligent. She was a renowned journalist and columnist here in Jordan. She had never seen herself as an investigative journalist, she told us. But in fact, she had the journalistic standards for fact-checking and for documentation that matched investigative journalists. She had high ethics, and she had a network of sources so comprehensive and so close to everyone with influence and power that everyone in this country had to read her weekly column in order to know what was going on in this country. So Rana seemed like the obvious choice to become the editor, the executive director. In the evening, she invited us to her home for a lovely dinner, and that was where we struck. We said to her, Rana, listen, what would you say if we offered you the job of executive director of ARIJ? And Rana was like, no way, it's not going to happen. I don't know how to raise funds. I've never been a manager. I don't know how to manage. I don't know anything about budget and money and things like that. There's no chance I'll run ARIJ. And we were like, yeah, but we're sure you can make that. And she was like, the only thing I want to do is edit and coach the journalists. I don't want to do all the management stuff. Nevertheless, we twisted her arm, and for some reason, well, not only that, we gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. I think we offered you $1,500 as a salary. I was like the equivalent of 1,000 JD. And obviously, she could not refuse, right? So Rana said, of course, yes, I'll take the job. Rana never took ARIJ for the money, that's for sure. In fact, she herself, on numerous occasions, paid the phone bills of ARIJ. She would pay for ARIJians who were at workshops and who didn't have any money, and we didn't have money on the grant to pay for them because they lived in the city where they were trained. She herself would, out of her own pocket, pay for these people. For Rana, ARIJ has always been a matter of the heart. The people she has trained here has always been a matter of the heart. And she made her late husband a donor of ARIJ, and for some reason he never complained. He must have loved her. So that was the very beginning. We didn't have much money. We started our very first workshop at the American University in Beirut in 2006 at the Reuters lab. It was a very small room. There were 12 journalists from all over, from Jordan and from Lebanon and from Syria, which were the 3 countries where we started up. And also there were 2, I think, from Saudi Arabia who had paid their own way into this groundbreaking workshop of investigative journalism. And it's a great pleasure to say that we have 3 of them here among us today. Bisan el-Sheikh, who was at the time at Al-Hayat in Lebanon, who is now still a coach with ARIJ. Hamoud al-Mahmoud from Syria, who is now working with Harvard Business, editor-in-chief of Harvard Business Review, I think it's called, in Abu Dhabi, and still a coach with ARIJ. And then Ali Hassoun, who is also a coach with ARIJ and who is working presently at the ARIJ office, just to mention a few. Could you guys please get up and let's give you a hand? Please get up. Thank you for being with us still. I could mention a lot of other people who are in this room, but since I'm only going to tell you about the very beginning this night, because otherwise it's going to be a very long story, I'm not going to mention any more. But there are people out here who just this evening told me what a difference ARIJ has done in their lives. And it's just so amazing. And they're working, on, for example, Deutsche Welle. They are journalists who are doing great stories out there and who are doing honor to ARIJ and to everything that we stand for. But after this first workshop, we also realized that we needed material. We needed an Arabic adapted training manual. And that was when I decided to look into my network, and I knew this professor from France, American guy, who had been doing a PhD about how journalists globally did investigative journalism. And I had been listening to him telling about how journalists use hypotheses as a tool to actually investigate their stories in a systematic way, and how to use the hypothesis to verify and falsify their story. And I thought this was the method that we needed. This was something that could be used, a tangible thing that we could actually use. So that was when we asked Mark Hunter to write the handbook, a story-based inquiry, that later has become translated into I don't know how many languages. I think it's more than 20. All over the world. UNESCO published it for us and paid for it for us. And so actually, the funny thing that from this very beginning, it all spread out throughout this part of the world. Rana and I and the rest of the team, Hanadi Garaibe and Yusuf Abu Ode, who have also always been in this with their heart from the beginning, they supported us and traveled around the Middle East with us in Syria and Jordan and Lebanon to do all these workshops. And I could tell you a million anecdotes of how Rana sweet-talked ministers in all kinds of countries and how she managed to make them accept that an organization like ARIJ would come and investigate. I just didn't believe my own eyes and ears, because it was like, is this really happening? And it was. And I don't think anyone but Rana could have done that. There's something about Rana which is just, she has this unique way of talking to people, and they just can't say no. Even the Syrian regime couldn't say no. So I think I've taken up already much of the time. But this was just how it started, all of it. And a lot of other things have happened since. We have grown into a big organization. And I hope that, and I'm sure that ARIJ is going to grow even further. I do think, I'll say one last thing, which is the fact Rana has always called ARIJ her family, or the ARIJ family. And she does that because she cares about every single journalists who are out there fighting the cause for free speech and for investigative journalism. I know in her heart she always carries all of you with her, and it's part of the DNA of ARIJ, and it has to remain that way, even when we grow into an organization that is matured and that's professionalized. If we ever lose this, we are not anymore ARIJ. So we have to stick onto that, and we have to stick together. All of those who are here, We have to continue helping each other. And I think the ARIJ Forum that we created back in, was it 2007 or 8? 8, with only 100 attendees and 12 sessions, I think. From that, it developed into, the forum for investigative journalists in the Arab world, where everyone who has anything to do with investigative journalists come. This is all an achievement of the ARIJ team, who has been working so hard on this. And the ARIJ team is people who are at the office, who are employed at the office, but also all of you guys out there who have been doing investigations, because without you guys, no ARIJ. You are the cornerstone. The work that you're doing out there, the awards that you are winning for us, is making all of us more proud than you can ever imagine. And for that, I personally thank you. It has been an honor working with you guys. And I know that you are going to make great achievements out there. So I'm going to wish you all good luck, and thank you for your patience in listening to me.
Usually before I have an event or something, I get anxious. But now I just remembered the reason why I'm doing it for the second year. It's the amount of passion and love that you talk about ARIJ is what made me come here in the first place. So I want to thank you, and it's a beautiful atmosphere, and what you're doing is great. So keep up the amazing work. كنت عم بحكي إنه دائما قبل ما
I was saying that usually I'm anxious before having any event, and now I remembered why I agreed to be part of ARIJ. It is about the passion and the amity among the team. This is the reason for the success of ARIJ. Indeed, I am very pleased to be with you once again. Today, we celebrate announcing the results for the awards. This is the third year in which ARIJ opens the award and nominations for all the journalists in the Arab world, from Bahrain to the east to Morocco, west, from Iraq to the north to Sudan to the west. Before that, competition was restricted to ARIJians. ARIJ is a network that works with the individual journalists and investigative journalist institutions, as well as the media outlets and all the Arab world. This reflects the trust of the council with the and the board with the training content of ARIJ. These nominations came from institutions, some of which had huge budgets and support teams, and from competing institutions, because of their belief that this competition is good for everyone, and that ARIJ has big ambitions for the Arab investigative journalism. The investigations that were participated, including those that were cross continents, it shed the light on the violations of the powerful people and the pain of the people affected and the suffering of victims, including children and women, on the light to spreading pluralism, good governance, freedom of the media, combating corruption, the principle of accountability, and other foundation of decent living, and the spirit of change that is affecting the region since 6 years. Colleague Lu'ay Ismail has headed the jury for 2019 for the best investigative reports, for the short film, for the multimedia for ARIJians, and the multimedia for non-ARIJians. The committee has decided not to give an award for the long film TV reports, and they have the reasons, and they will announce them. Lu'ay Ismail works as a chair of the BBC Arabic Programs Department, and he has participated with a set of journalists to produce a set of documentaries, including The Ether of Hatred and the underground commotion in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, the Children of Hunger, and Farewell Aleppo. and he has won the Emmy. Some of them have won the Emmy Award and the AIB Award. He has launched several TV programs that aim at challenging the stereotypes, including BBC Extra TV, Into the Frame, and Sports Women. Members of the jury. Walid Batrawi, he's been a member for the second year after heading the jury for 3 times. Walid Batrawi is a Palestinian journalist who worked as a head for the award, the jury for 2014-2015, and was a member of the board in ARIJ for 4 years. He has an experience that extends for 28 years in the audiovisual media, including supervising ARIJ investigations and training journalists in Arab countries and in foreign countries, in addition to work with the BBC and Al Jazeera International. Mr. Abdurrahman Al-Shami. Abdurrahman Shami is the editor of the Middle East Media Journal and the head of ANSAC and a member of the board of AUSACE and a member of the editorial, is managing editor of JMAG and a member of the ARIJ jury. He has a degree of professor in mass media from the Mass Media College in Sana'a University and is a professor in mass media at Qatar University after getting a PhD in 2004 from the Mass Media College at Al-Azhar University. Shami has publications about the new media, about social change and satellite channels and the credibility of the media and ethics. Shami taught researches on mass media and theories of communication, international communication, and writing for radios and writing for TV, writing for the drama, and editing news, as well as personal communication and the history of mass media. I'm going to speak a lot. You have to be patient. Huda Uthman is also a member of the jury for the second year in a row. Huda Uthman is a reporter and a trainer residing in New York and is the head of AMEJA. And she worked at the investigative department at ABC, CBS, and also as a reporter for France 24, PBS, and Associated Press, and as other international media outlets. And she also taught investigative journalism in the Arab world and abroad. Fatima Sharif, she started her work in media by training on producing documentaries in Alphamis in France, and there she produced her first film, Bint ad-Dar, the daughter of the house, and another film about the advocates of the women's rights in 2011. And in 2013, TV5 responded and produced a film about the departure of the Jewish community from Tunisia. Sharif currently works on preparing a film which is a political memoirs, and she also worked in running and organizing cinema festivals and was a member in the art committee for the Carthage Cinema Days in 2015 and Qabis Film Festival 2018 and the management of Qabis Festival in 2019, which is a cinema festival that includes all forms of visual arts. Lu'ay worked thoroughly and accurately with Rana Sabbagh and Arijan's Bisan al-Sheikh and Samih Laboudi to filter the investigations based on new standards that addresses the standards of international awards. Then the final nominations were sent to the jury who evaluated the films and met on 21st of this month to take the final decisions. Let's greet together the members of the jury. The mechanism of nomination. Each candidate in the Arab world is supposed to mention his hypothesis and why he selected the topic, and to explain the methodology, which is the strategy of the research adopted to prove the hypothesis, including the main sources, the available sources, and the closed sources, and whether he has faced any risks during investigation, and whether there were the publication resonated or had any impact in terms of effecting tangible change on the lives of the affected persons. And the competing works were evaluated based on 10 standards. Now we listen to the speech of the jury and Lu'ay Ismail.
مساء الخير.
Good evening. The journalists are scary these days. They have small, amazing tools that enable them to search for anything, and it also enables them to document anything almost. And we have ARIJ, this place that gives those journalists the tools for investigation and for inquiry and for verification. And the result is young men and women who scare the corrupt and the murderers and the thieves, and they become a light for the victims everywhere. The investigations attest to what I have just said. And we at the jury, Fatima, Huda, and Abdul Rahman, and Walid, and myself, we felt that we have learned something new from what we saw and we heard. However, in each of the nominated films, there are stories of people like you, but they have suffered from injustice of the powerful and the occupying forces, and from regional international greed, and from neglect or corruption by the government. And they were sold, they were expelled, and they suffered from things that we do not accept to suffer from. And if this is the situation, I hope that you raise your voice, because this night proves that there is someone that hears you. And remember that the best thing about you is that you are scary these days. Everybody knows that the jury has decided not to award one of the awards for this year. However, we assert that the works that competed for this renowned Arijian award were good. But one of the works actually made me cry, and I sat with the candidate who made this film, and I asked him for about one point, and his answer was falling into tears. When I watched this film, in fact, I went to tears. I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch the candidate films, but I advise everyone to watch them, because each one of those is valuable and has an important story behind it. And even the stories that we felt that maybe they are not suitable for a ARIJ award, they were not good enough, but still they were good works, and they are worth watching and to learn from them. I thank ARIJ for the confidence that they put in me personally and all the members of the jury, and I was honored to get to know them. I got to know everyone except Walid, whom I met by phone only. I met everyone because of ARIJ, and I talked to them for many and long hours. I don't know if I'm allowed to thank you for nominating me to chair the jury. And this is the last ARIJ under your management. I thank you indeed. In the end, I wish to say, in my name and on behalf of the jury and on behalf of ARIJ, I congratulate everyone who is going to hear his name tonight and will be called upon to come to the podium. And I congratulate all those who have reached this level, even if their names were not mentioned tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Luai. The ARIJ board and its executive director, Rana Sabbagh, say that each ARIJian, each investigative journalist in the Arab world who is serious and who has published a report or broadcast a report deserves a ARIJ award. Everybody has worked under difficult circumstances. They have dug deep, and they obtained information, and they documented, and they faced the offenders. And this by itself is a medal for each one of you, especially under the current political and the legal circumstances that surround our work in the Arab world, which is the most dangerous place for the work of journalists in the world. 71 persons were nominated, and they were filtered until they became 27 before being sent to the committee. The final nominations were for journalists from Yemen, Egypt, Mauritania, Iraq, and Syria. Once again, the board thanks the executive committee that has managed the network during the research sabbatical for Rana Sabbagh, Yusuf Awoudi, and Tamara Qarra'in, and Saad Hattar. The board and all Arijians also thank the colleague Yazan Abu Rous, who is the current coordinator of this conference, for his relentless effort in making this forum a success together with Rana Sabbagh and ARIJ team. On your behalf, Arijians, we thank all the members of the ARIJ network, both the full-timers and the part-timers, because they were the dynamo of the ARIJ 2019. The board has decided to honor two colleagues who've been working with ARIJ since 7 years. We ask Dr. Yasmin Dabbous to come to the podium. Our colleague Yazan Ali, the administrative and financial assistant. Yazan, frankly, before meeting you, I heard about you a lot. Everybody was saying good words about you. He is the engine of ARIJ. Several months ago, he had a new born baby, daughter Bisam. He is the administrative and financial assistance, and he is extremely dedicated. Without him, you will have no transfers, you will not have any visas. And colleague Lina Sharaiha, who is the coordinator of ARIJ programs. And the several workshops, and he works with precision. She is full of energy. Shibli booked the tickets and followed up the visas and supervised booking the interpretation team. Thank you. And now we would like to thank and express our appreciation to the following donors.
SIDA, Danish Arab Partnership Program, DAPP, IMS, Danish IMS, Open Society Foundations, the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, CFI, Facebook Project, the Swedish Embassy in Amman, Friedrich Naumann, the German institution with whom we are going to undertake a workshop on electronic crimes in the Arab world, Google News Initiative, the Norwegian Institute for Journalists, the Jordan Kuwaiti Bank, Swedish Institute, Scoop, the OCCRP, Ethical Journalism Network, Hibber website, the Dutch Embassy, Mary Colvin, Deutsche Welle, Women in News, GIZ, ICFJ, GIJN, Jordan, Royal Jordanian Women in Media, CIP, French Embassy in Amman, CNN Arabic, Security Assistance Monitor, Rory Peck Trust, Frontline Freelance Register, Creative Contact, Radio Mazaj FM, Dialogue Edge, headed by Mona Khlefat, the interpreters team, the independent interpreters, ushers, headed by Lana Bsharat, Couplex, Kempinski, VIP, Treasury for management of conferences, and Royal Wings represented by Maher Derbs. Now the clock is ticking and heartbeats are getting faster, and let's announce the short film category, and let's see the films that were shortlisted.
2019 فئة التحقيقات المتلفزة القصيرة. اعتزال إجباري. حقق الزميل أحمد عصر في تهرب هيئات رياضية مصرية من التكفل بمصاريف علاج مصابي الألعاب الفردية أثناء المشاركة في أو الإعداد لبطولات باسم المنتخب المصري، في مخالفة للقوانين المحلية واللوائح الدولية، ما يدفعهم إلى الاعتزال بداعي الإصابة لعدم قدرتهم على تحمل نفقات العلاج. عقود الوهم. كشف الزميل السالك زيد ثغرات قانونية وتنفيذية تساعد وسطاء تشغيل في موريتانيا على استغلال العمالة المنزلية المصدرة إلى دول خليجية، ما يؤدي إلى ضياع حقوقهم. الصراع على سقطرى. وثق الزميلان أصيل سارية وأحمد الواسعي أنشطة إماراتية غير قانونية في جزيرة سقطرى دون إذن السلطات اليمنية، ما يهدد السيادة اليمنية على الجزيرة.
I would like to call upon the head of the board, Dr. Yasmin Dabbous, member of the board, Mohammed Shbaro, Luay Ismail, Rana Sabah, the new executive director of ARIJ, Rawan Adaman, who is going to assume her position as of the beginning of next year, to come to the podium, please. Now the decisive moment has arrived. Where are the candidates? They are all over the hall, as I can see. And the winner is, for the short film, the winner is, shall I say it? Shall I say it? Forced resignment or retirement by Ahmed Asr.
الحقيقة مش عارف أقول إيه.
I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. This is the very first award that I am granted. Indeed, it's a very impressive moment. This award was given to me at a very decisive moment whereby I really needed. Everyone knows what are the circumstances or conditions under which we work. I'm extremely happy, and I would like to give this award to all journalists that are digging deep in the ground in order to come up with a respectable product.
ألف مبروك.
Congratulations. Now we go to the multimedia investigation for ARIJians, or ARIJians multimedia investigations.
لصحافة الاستقصاء لعام 2019 فئة التحقيقات متعددة الوسائط للأريجيين. كليوباترا صنعت خارج مصر. كشف الزميل أحمد الشامي عن تورط شبكات منظمة تضم رجال أعمال وسياسيين من جنسيات مختلفة في حماية شركات أجنبية دأبت على تصنيع وتهريب سجائر كليوباترا مدون عليها عبارة صنع في مصر، لبيعها داخل هذا البلد ودول أخرى، لكنها في الحقيقة صنعت خارج مصر. صنع في السجن. تتبع الزميل محمود الواقع قصة تحول 4 شباب إلى الفكر الجهادي داخل السجون المصرية، بعد أن تحولت تلك السجون إلى بيئة خصبة للأفكار المتطرفة ومركز تجنيد نزلاء في صفوف جماعات جهادية. حكم القوي. كشفت الزميلة فيولا فهمي عن تضرر عشرات الأسر المسيحية المصرية من أحكام جائرة لمجالس عرفية غير قابلة للاستئناف، وانحيازها لطرف النزاع القوي حال وقوع حوادث عنف دينية.
فعلا مواضيع مهمة جدا.
Indeed, all these themes are significant, and all the candidates are winners, actually, because their themes are significant and very important to the Arab society. The winner is, so it is, shall I say the name, or shall I refrain? Do you want me to say it fast? Shall I take my time? Let us take our time. All right, all right. The winner is Ahmed Atshami for his investigation, Cleopatra made outside Egypt.
بتحب تحكي
التحقيق ده يمكن كان من أصعب.
That was one of the most difficult investigations that I have undertaken. It took the longest time ever. However, I wasn't able to do it without my team. Some of the team members are here present tonight. Some are not here, and I would like to thank each and everyone, headed by Rana Sabagh. Actually, she has helped me as of day one. She has opened so many values to enable me to produce or make my work. Mustafa Marsafawi is the second person on the team that I would like to thank. Mustafa actually supervised the text and the written part of it. As I have said, the investigation was very thorny, and it led to the result that was awarded this award. And we have Abdurrahman Boudi, who is the third on the team. He was the technical supervisor, the multimedia design and form, etc. And the other members of the team, Magdi Gallab is not with us. He is the chief editor in Masrawi website. He supported me as of day one. Without knowing the nature of the theme, he just told me that go ahead, I fully trust you, and he helped me indeed. The other person who is not here, Mr. Ala Al-Ghatrafi, he also helped me so much throughout the investigation. And the third member who is not here is Ms. Dalia Shibr. She stood with me during the darkest moments and the most difficult moments. And I would like to seize the opportunity of this gathering to thank Mr. Abir Saadi and Huda Uthman, as well as Dr. Henrik from IMS. I have learned so much from them, and they have helped me at the beginning of my investigative journey, and we have come together after so many years, and I would like to say that this award represents the efforts of all of us together. So I would like to offer this award to all of them as well.
طيب الآن نشاهد
Let's turn to the multimedia category for non-regions.
2019 فئة التحقيقات متعددة الوسائط، إغاثة فاسدة بإشراف أممي. كشف الزميل أصيل سارية عن تدفق كميات كبيرة من المساعدات الإنسانية غير مطابقة للمواصفات إلى اليمن عبر منظمات دولية، ما يؤدي إلى مضاعفات صحية مميتة في ظل تردي المنظومة الصحية في البلاد. الحرب التي لا تنتهي. وثق الزميل ميزر كمال آثار استخدام أسلحة اليورانيوم المنضب على الأجيال العراقية بين عامي 1991 و2018، كاشفا ازدياد أعداد المصابين بأمراض سرطانية وتشوهات خلقية. موت بمخلفات الحياة. وثق الزميل عباس علي موسى إصابة عاملين في مستشفيات ومراكز طبية سورية بأمراض مزمنة وقاتلة بسبب الاحتكاك غير الآمن بالنفايات الطبية في غياب تطبيق إجراءات الوقاية لدى التعامل مع المخلفات الطبية.
And the winner for this category, multimedia investigations of non-regions, is the following.
ممتاز من زمان لو حطيتوا
So the winner is Asil Saria for spoilt relief under UN or international supervision.
على ما أعتقد فزت بجائزة السنة الماضية إذا أنا
I think, Asil, you also won an award last year? Or am I mistaken?
مساء الخير.
Good evening. I think that you all know that I'm very happy, so I will not talk about my emotions. I would just say that I am also awarding this award to all the Yemenis that are suffering in the dire circumstances in Yemen. And Yemenis have been forced to get all that kind of relief because of the war. So I award this to them, as well to the other Yemeni journalists who work under dire circumstances, to the arrested, to the kidnapped journalists, to the journalists who have fallen victims to the freedom of speech and covering war and journalistic stories under very difficult circumstances. I would also like to award this or grant this award to my dad, to my mother. They are the ones behind my work. My mother is always scared for me because I work as a journalist in the Yemen. And of course, to my daughter, my young daughter, to my lovely wife. This award is granted to all of them. I would like to thank Facebook as well, Vice Online, as well as to my colleague Wael Mamdouh, who is an Arisian. I would like to thank all those who helped me in my investigation. Isa Rajahi is one of them. Let me just clarify that I am an Arijian to start with as of 2015 until now. Thank you, Rana Sabah, for all your help, and wish Rawan all the best in her new position. For the long televised category, a special mention was given to the last user investigation by Mohammed Abul Ghait. ARIJ has decided that the board, Dr. Yasmin Dabous, is to be granted a token gift for her support of the work of the team for this year.
نطلب من كل فريق أريج يتفضل
would you please, all ARIJ team, can you please come up to the podium, to the stage?
الجميع متقررين وغير متقررين تفضلوا الكل.
Okay, how about everyone coming up to the podium, to the stage?
شكرا لكم.
Thank you for your presence with us tonight, and we'd like to call you to, or invite you to dinner and to a dancing ball as is customary, and hopefully we will meet again towards the end of next year, and we hope that there will always be an excellent record of achievements of ARIJ. May peace be upon all of you, and enjoy yourselves at the party and dinner.